It might still be brat summer, but for the love of everything that's holy, stop lighting off all of your leftover 4th of July fireworks at 10 p.m. and just save it for next year. Okay? Tell a neighbor to tell a neighbor. And while you're at it, tell them to listen to our show because we're live. I was going to say welcome back to the podcast, but you're so committed to this dang show that you're recording the day after you came back. So we literally aren't even going to miss a week. So well done.
No, absolutely not. No, I got on a plane at approximately. Actually, I left my hotel. I was in Chicago this week. We'll get to that in a little bit, but this weekend. But I left my hotel at 7 a.m. A little after 7 a.m. local time, Central Time. I woke up about 6:30. So I've been up since 5:30 in Arizona time. And only took an hour nap in between, and I'm here and I'm ready for the show. And I'm 100%. I'm 100%.
He's ready to
no
go.
slacking on this show. No slacking.
No slacking. So yeah, I'm joined as always by the world's foremost hater on slacking, Richie Flores.
And I am joined by resident fireworks hater, Jordan. Yes.
Maybe we should just call our podcast like 1 hour, one thing we hate, because it seems like we do that almost every week. So fair.
No, we're not good enough haters for that.
No, it's true.
We're lovers, not fighters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we try to be unbothered as much as we possibly can. So we have a lot to cover this week. Last week was it was my episode because of the great power outage, but this week is your episode. Tell the people about your adventures.
That's so true. I am back. Like I said, I am back from Chicago. I spent 2 full days there and one evening, and I was covering a NASCAR race, which is why I'm wearing a hat that literally just says "street" on it.
It's not because you're like for the streets.
Not for the streets, nothing like
NFL
that. No.
Street, no.
NFL Street. Oh my God! Don't even get me started on that.
Great game.
I freaking loved NFL
Great
Street,
game.
dude.
Yeah,
that was legit one of my favorite video games of all time, and I don't know why. Like, we're gonna sidetrack for a second, okay?
Yep.
College football 25. College football video games can kiss my ass. They're suck. They suck. They're overrated. They're just knockoff Madden with college uniforms, and that's it. Okay, so save me your college football video game biases, ladies and gentlemen. What we need back is NFL Street, because that game was cool as hell. It was so much gosh darn fun to play. And like, I loved it, the fact they had the Legends team that you could unlock. This is like back in the day when wasn't no like downloadable content you had to pay for. This was like going on freaking message boards to find cheat codes that
you remember enter. I was gonna say, you remember those books that you could buy that had the cheat codes? They were like the game guides and the strategies and stuff.
Yeah. And
crazy.
And so you go on the message boards and you would find what you need to do to unlock the Legends team, because to do it the right way, you had to go and you had to beat like certain levels and everything. Blah blah. That's no fun. No, I wanted to unlock the Legends right away and beat the crap out of everybody with Walter Payton with sweetness. Oh, it was too good. Oh.
I miss that era of video games when nothing was serious. It was like NFL Street. It was the Bigs for MLB. I don't know if you ever played the Bigs. Mm-hmm. The Bigs was crazy. It was the most just whacked out arcade game style Major League Baseball, and it was so fun. My cousin and I spent so many late nights playing the Bigs. It was crazy.
NBA Jam was kind of like that too, albeit a little bit different. Yeah. But anyway, we digress off on the NFL Street bandwagon. Bring it back. This has nothing to do with NFL Street. This is because the NASCAR race I was covering this weekend was a street race. So they were racing around the streets of Chicago, downtown Chicago, around Grant Park. So that's why it says NASCAR. That's why it says street on it. And the cool thing about this hat, first, it's got the logo right there, NASCAR.
Oh, that's cool. You got the stars for the flag on the other side as well.
Yep, and it's got the stars. I love
Mm-hmm.
the color. This is obviously the color of the flag. But the cool thing about this hat that you don't know, that you wouldn't notice if you didn't have it on, like I do. But check this out. Do you
Is
do you
that
know
the
what that
circuit?
is? That's the circuit. Yeah, on the bill.
That's cool.
Isn't that sick? That's really
That's actually
cool.
super
Yeah.
cool.
So I saw people walking around with this hat all weekend. I was like, damn, that's a cool hat. I gotta have it because it's like super unique. It stands out a lot. It's like, why do you have street written on your thing? But it's the most like Chicago thing ever, most Illinois Chicago thing ever. So really cool. And I liked it. And so yeah, I got it and I'm wearing it on the show today. So that's where I was this weekend. I spent way too much time walking around this weekend, as you do at a street course event. As again, you get full access. So I was pretty much able to go wherever the hell I wanted to go, which is always great. And so I would just wander around quite often. To the point where over the course of 3 nights that I was there, I'm gonna let me bring it up just so let's go back to Friday.
He's gonna get his step count.
I'm gonna get my step count so you can guess how many miles I walked this weekend.
Pull up Strava, make it official.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. How many miles do you think I walked this weekend?
This is a cumulative number.
Yeah.
Give me like 12.1.
Close for Sunday.
Oh, are you serious?
No, not joking. Friday night, I was only there one night, obviously.
Sure.
3.95 miles.
Okay. I was shooting roughly between like 3 and 4 times 3.
That was
Sunday
that was just like kind of that includes airport walking and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday alone, a little bit more. Not as long a day. I didn't walk around as much. 7.89 miles on Saturday.
Okay.
So we're currently almost
11-ish.
Yeah, we're over 11 miles, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, over 11 miles. Okay, so we're already close to hitting your number. On Sunday.
So I was only off by like a whole 10 or 11 miles.
Exactly. On Sunday, 10.40 miles, 23,000 steps, 109 flights climbed.
Where were you going? What were you doing? How did you climb 109 flights?
Because there's a lot of stairs. Because the way to get around the dang course was you had to go. They built bridges to go.
Okay.
Across, so you could go from where the pit lane was into like where the grandstands were, and so you can kind of go. You can walk back and forth, and so there were stairs. So I was going up and down those like all the time and all day. And so that's why I climbed the 109 flights.
It's like you're just Sunday. Like riding an escalator and making your watch count it. Like what's happening?
So that was great. The weather was pretty good for the most part, and this is where your expertise is going to come in. So at last year's race, everything was ruined by rain for the most part, and it really put a damper on things. So this year, the forecast was great. It looked like it was going to be sunny all weekend. And for the most part, it was. Saturday's race was terrific. Great race, great finish, really great racing. And then Sunday comes around and we get ready to start. Like, it's sunny. It's perfectly sunny. It's beautiful weather, a little bit of a breeze in the Windy City. All afternoon, I wandered about and I spent 2 minutes watching Keith Urban and then I left. And then
you didn't have Nicole Kidman, so you bailed. You were like,
Nicole Kidman didn't come out and do the AMC speech. I was like, "Why? No, I'm not here for this.
Why am I here?
Where's Nicole?" I yelled.
Bring out Nicole.
And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. And then
I should have brought your shirt.
Yes, that's so true. And so yeah, so it was perfect. This was about 2.5 hours before the race. I'm like, oh, this is great. There's no clouds in the sky. Like, it's going to be a beautiful day. And then we get closer and closer to the race, and then the clouds start coming in. Then they start turning gray, and then they literally fire up the damn engines to get the cars rolling off of pit lane, and the drops start coming down. And we're like, oh god, here we go again. I then texted you. I was like, oh, we're about ready to get we're Silverstone in. We're putting on some rain tires. They do have rain tires.
Mhm.
And so we got the race underway, and we got 20 or so laps into the race, and then the deluge started, and we got delayed by like 2 hours. And I got poured on because I brought my rain attire with me because I was like, oh, well, what if it does rain? I checked the damn weather the morning of the race, like I said, and it was completely clear. I was like, oh, cool. I don't have to lug this around with me all day. And then it started raining. I was like, God damn it, I left my freaking jacket at my gosh darn hotel room. And so yeah, it's the Richie Jinx showed up again. So my question to you is, this is like a Midwest thing, isn't it? Where the goddamn rain comes out of nowhere and the deluge begins when in the morning there was 0% chance of rain, 0% chance of precipitation, and then the deluge.
Yep. Yeah, welcome to it. I was just smiling in Midwest the whole time while you were describing that. I was like, yep, welcome to it. The first summer I got out here, on my life, I swear, like each of the first days in the first week that I was out here, it was sunny, but it was raining. And it rains just for a little bit, like every day, just enough to be a little bit annoying if you're outside, but like not really enough to do anything except make it humid. You're like, oh man, I don't want to mess with this. But I was also laughing while you were telling that story because it just reminded me of my dad when we were on vacation because he brought a rain jacket with him, which you know how hard it was for us to stay under the weight limit on our
Mm-hmm.
packing and to plan for 2 weeks in advance. And he brought a rain jacket with him, and he did not bring it with him any of the days that it actually rained, but he brought it with him and lugged it around for a handful of the days where it was like bright and sunny all day. So we started telling him that he needed to bring it because then it would make it not rain. And so it was like, didn't bring the umbrella, didn't bring the rain jacket, didn't bring a hat, raining. Brought it, sunny. I was like, yep, that's how it works. Yep.
So yeah, so more to finish up the NASCAR story. We had some crashes into tire barriers. The racing was pretty cool. Like, I will tell you, we talk about Formula One all the time, and they run a lot of street circuits, right? Vegas being one of them, Miami being one of them. And those are way too expensive. Like,
Monaco.
yeah, in Monaco, yeah.
Trauma. Yeah.
But the cool thing about this is, number one, it's a lot cheaper. Still a little pricey, but like, it's the views are still great, and it's like a massive festival. There's the Chainsmokers played a show. I didn't go. They didn't care. I was going to go, and I got back to my hotel room, and I was like, I'm way too tired. I've walked 8 miles today. I do not want to walk another 2 more miles to go see Chainsmokers, so I did not do that.
Yep.
But anyway, I'd recommend going to the Chicago Street Race. It's a really cool time. It's a really unique experience. It's just so damn wild to just watch these cars go 160 miles an hour down a piece of street that cars would normally go down, and like watch them, how close to the wall they would come. Like, I was in a grandstand for part of Saturday, and these cars they're going 100 and some odd miles an hour or whatever, almost like there's coming through like a little bump, and so they're a little oversteer, I guess, a little loose, to use NASCAR terms, and then they come off, and they gotta whip the car around super quick in this tight turn. They are like this close to the dang wall, right? Like, it's less than a foot, and it's just like, yeah, it was wild. It's so cool, and the views were amazing. I've never been to Chicago, so it was really cool. And like, there's some pictures if you go to the Speed Freak social media accounts. Even I think on my Instagram I had some. I don't even know. Maybe I'll post it. They're gone now, I think, because I put them on stories. But I'll post them on the brand account. We can do that. I'll post
Yeah,
some of the
we'll post them.
pictures, like just really cool views, great time, other than the damn rain. I did the funny thing I did, and I'm glad I did this actually, which is I decided to choose a portion of the rain in which it wasn't outright downright pouring to walk the block and a half or so to my hotel, to go pick up my raincoat and then walk back.
So you did eventually get the raincoat. That's good.
I did. I
Okay.
absolutely did, and that was actually really smart because later on when they were about to go back, they were like, "Okay, we're gonna go back here. Drivers, get in your cars. We're gonna fire the engines up again." So I was like, "All right, cool. I'll head back out there, head back to pit lane, get them fired up." And as soon as they get in the cars and I think they actually legit did fire the engines to go again. It literally poured harder than it had at any point during the entire rest of the day. And I go, did I really just come out here for no damn reason? And so I
Yeah.
had to walk all the way back to the media center in the pouring ass rain. My shoes were soaked. It was just like, I was just like, oh my, what am I doing?
That's crazy. That's absolutely
What am
crazy.
I doing?
Love
Um,
love the Midwest.
um, Did not have well actually no, I had one slice of Chicago deep dish
Okay,
because
was it where did you what establishment?
they brought in Lou Malnati's, which we have here
Okay.
in Arizona. As we
Yeah, but
previously
not
discussed on the
not the Lou Malnati's.
I don't know. It could
Well,
be. I
it's
don't know.
no, it's the same chain, but it's like
Yeah.
Arizona. I know the one you're talking about, like Arizona
Yes.
Lou Malnati's. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But yes, and so they brought that to us, and it was good. It was fine. It was good. But again, as we previously show, I don't like deep dish. I think it's stupid and useless. If I wanted to, you don't need a fork and the knife to eat pizza, bro. Like, save it. I don't want. We had this discussion on Speed Freaks last night on Sunday too, and
Mhm.
Crash looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, it's like if I wanted to eat pasta sauce, I would eat spaghetti.
Have you seen the one where it's the person describing Chicago deep dish and they're like, "Where's the pepperoni? It's under the sauce. Where's the cheese? It's under the sauce." Like it's crazy. It's a really weird experience if you've never seen that before, that they bring it out to you, and it's deep dish also. They're not lying. It's not like
Hmm.
deep dish at Domino's where it's like just slightly more than a thin crust. It's like a chunk of crust. It's like you better know
Yes.
what you're getting into, because it's like if you took a cheesecake mold, and hollowed it out and then just filled it with with pizza sauce and then baked it. It's
Yes.
incredible. You should have it if you're ever in Chicago. There's like a turf war between Lou Malnati's and Giordano's, I think is the other one, which they also have in Arizona.
Hmm.
A chain, an expansion, not the real thing, but people fight over which of those is the best, and they're
Hmm.
both crazy. So
And they're
maybe we'll
both
do that. Maybe we'll do that on one of our trips to Chicago.
when we're
We'll
yes, because we have multiple coming up.
That's crazy. I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, why why are we doing this?
And yeah, I'm gonna be like a Chicago like connoisseur
You are. I
at
was
this
hoping
point
you would
because
bring back some good intel. You would like scour and have some information.
I
But
I didn't because I did not have any extra time
well, you had a
except for
little
Friday
extra
night.
time.
I
Yeah.
did. I did. That's the perfect
Segue it.
transition. Perfect
Perfect.
transition.
Let's go.
Okay, so as I discussed with Jordan all week, like in a couple weeks leading up, I was like, okay, well, what can I
Mhm.
do Friday night? There's nothing going on at the track. I have some extra time Friday night. I want to find something to do that night that doesn't involve just going out. That's like where I'm not having to Uber out somewhere completely or whatever to do or blah 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 blah. I stay like I said, I was staying like right there in downtown Chicago, and I don't even know how I found this out that they were playing there, but I found out that there is Broadway musicals that come to Chicago, and so I was like, well, I looked it up, and I was like, all right, we'll see who's playing. Maybe I'll go see a show. Luckily for me, there was, and it's one I've heard just absolutely amazing things about prior. And so I was like, I gotta find a way to go see this show. The only problem is, or was, that my flight was supposed to land at 5:45 local time. The show started at 7:30. It takes about an hour to get from the airport to downtown Chicago. And then it's about a 10-minute walk from the hotel to the theater. And so I'm like, I was texting Jordan. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have time. I'm gonna cut it so damn close.
Yeah, that plan relied on everything going perfect and right on
Everything,
schedule. Yeah.
everything had to hit. And by golly, it did. Because the pilot, I should have slipped the pilot a $20 bill on my way out because he got us in there about half an hour earlier than we were scheduled, which is
Flight
like
speed run. Let's go.
absolutely incredible. It literally was the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs going on over here.
Flight speed run.
uh, and so I was like, oh yes, let's go. That 30 minutes was all I needed. And we got there in time. I actually bought the ticket in my Uber on the way out there because I know I was going to get there on time. And then, walked over to the theater. It was at the James Niederlander Theater, which is is like well over 100 years old. And I should have put the picture in the dang thing so I could have shown the people
We'll
what
put
it
the
looks
picture
like.
on the brand account. We'll post about your
Yeah.
Chicago trip. You can get a vacation post.
Yeah.
Influencer.
So and the theater's like incredible. It was like so damn cool on the inside. I was like, I spent a good like 20 minutes before the show. I was like,
Just staring at the ceiling. You're like,
just looking at the
wow.
details because it was cool.
No,
Because
it's
you don't
true.
get that.
Yeah.
You don't get that in
Yeah.
a lot of other cities, especially here in Arizona. So to get that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Like,
so there we go. I went to go see Six on Friday night, and it was awesome. It was so much fun, man. It was so cool. And again, the amount of Broadway musicals I've seen in person, the list is now 2. I've seen Book of Mormon once several years ago, and Six is number 2 for me. And my seats were terrific. I was in the balcony section, so a little bit higher, but I was like right down the middle.
Good.
I was right in the center, so I was like,
sometimes those are really good seats. Like people discount it because they're a little bit farther away, but if you're at the back of the orchestra and you get the overhang on top of you from the mezzanine level or the balcony level, sometimes that's real hard because you can't see the top part of the stage. Whereas like if you're up top and you're looking down, you're at least not obstructed. So especially if you're taller like you, it's not an issue. So
exactly. So I absolutely loved the show. It was so good. It was so much fun. I think you put it perfectly. It is a musical for the pop girlies, and
it is. Yeah.
And it was so much fun. Like the cool thing about it is like best way to describe it is like a rock show, almost in a way. Like you remind me a lot of the Spice Girls in a way, where you'd have kind of like each of the different queens. In a way, their musical styles was based on like a famous pop star. If you look in the playbill here, it actually says that, right? Let me see. I'll bring it up so I can show it to you.
Oh, that's cool, actually. So for the people that maybe aren't familiar, it's like a kind of a loose spin-off, but like a modern retelling of the 6 wives of Henry VIII, if I'm not mistaken. And so then they obviously all met a different fate, as some of you may well be aware. And it's sort of them telling what's happened to them in like a modern jukebox style, but then also just, claiming their own sort of identity. So go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, if you go and you look in the book here, there's a little section right there where it goes through and it will it tells you about each of the wives.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, they give you your history lesson.
Little history lesson, and at the bottom it says Queenspiration, and it kind of explains like some of the styles of each of their songs in a way. So and so that was really cool. And the cool thing about it is like I actually was not expecting this, because in my mind, like I'm thinking of again Book of Mormon, Hamilton, right, where you would generally have kind of a bigger cast of like an ensemble who are generally like your backup singers and your backup dancers, et cetera, and your backup performers, right? But for this show, it is literally just the 6 main characters and then a backing band, drums, keys, guitar, bass. And so I was like, it was legit. It was like a rock show with like 6, like a female pop group of 6 singers. So it was cool, man. I loved it.
What's not to like?
It was so much fun. Like it was legit funny too. I laughed so much during the show. Like some of the jokes were just so good. and I loved it. I love the songs. There's one in particular that's like because one of the wives is from Germany, and so the one of the songs is like this like German discotheque inspired banger.
Goss Sound Machine.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it was so much fun. And yeah, so if you get a chance and it rolls through your city, go see Six. Cannot recommend it enough.
It's also, I think, a very an easy choice. Like even if you don't know if you are gonna like a Broadway musical, like you said, I think it's more of a concert, and it's
Mm-hmm.
also straight through like 80 or 90 minutes. There's no
Mm-hmm.
intermission in the middle. It's not like 2.5. It's not. It doesn't have the volume of some of those other shows. So if you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, just sit down for an hour and a half and enjoy some good music. So
Mm-hmm.
right on. Well, yeah, you had a busy weekend.
Yeah, 25. I thanks for sitting through me yapping for 25 minutes, but
No, I told you this was going to be your episode. You were on stage. Here's your spotlight. Sing your song. Were you divorced, beheaded, or did you die?
survived.
Survived. There you go. Nice work. He passes the vibe check. We had other racing this weekend. Other rain racing this weekend. We had Silverstone. For those of you that were also following F1 as Richie was this weekend. That was kind of a crazy one. Good result. Good result, I think, for both of us for different
Mm-hmm.
reasons, but good result for both of us. Kind of a complex race because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
You probably saw. I mean, if you follow F1 at all, you probably saw some of the discourse from teams about how they handled their tire strategy, how they didn't, how mismanaged their tire strategy, things like that. That always comes into play when you get a wet to dry track or the reverse. And we saw some of it with the free practices, and then it happened again during the race. And as it turned out, the drivers that kind of stayed out and made their own calls did a pretty good job. Like you saw Lewis Hamilton was on the radio, and Bono was in his ear and was like, "Hey, we think it's time for inters." And he said, "Nope, it's too dry," and stayed out. And those that box for inters, like Ferrari, God bless Ferrari strategy or lack of, um, Ferrari and Checo did it, and there were some other that dove in for the intermediate tires right away and then just paid the price. And so you had some drivers that were making really good judgment calls and ended up with good results. So
Oh yeah, it was again, we say this every week, but like this season of Formula 1 continues to be about as good as it's been in a long time. Outside of 2021, which is, probably the best Formula 1 season in the last long while. Even though it seems like the championship race is done and dusted at this point in time, the fact that there are many competitive teams as there are this year is so good. The parity is, I think, what will draw a lot more fans into the sport. Whereas the max dominance of 2023, it doesn't. People complain about it all the time. That's not the case this year. We've had 6 winners in 12 races. Is that right?
mm-hmm. Yep, I
6
think that's
different
right.
winners in 12 races. We prior to that, in the full other year before, there was 2. and that was
Max
it.
Verstappen and Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's incredible. And I honestly, like, as we were texting during the race, and um I'm still in shock that Lewis managed to pull it out, man. Like that was so freaking cool. Like we're over 24 hours later as we're recording this. I'm still like, I still cannot believe it happened. I did not expect him. I was worried for the longest time because of how crap box that Mercedes was at the beginning of the season. So much so that, remember on a previous edition of this show where we were talking about Hot Ones? Did we talk about Lewis on Hot Ones?
I think
Yeah,
we
we did.
did talk about. We should
Yeah,
have
yeah.
if we didn't, but yeah.
And he got asked, what's the most uncomfortable you've been in a race car? And Lewis deadpanly said, right now.
Right now. Yep.
Yeah. And you could tell, I think we talked about the time, I was like, poor Lewis, man, what the hell? He's one of the greatest drivers of all time. And he's given this. How many times have I complained to you earlier this season that I wanted Lewis out of Mercedes right now because of the crap box race car that they were giving him, and how they were favoring George in every damn race and every damn strategy and screwing Lewis at every possible opportunity.
I could probably count it, and it would be often. And like I can't say that that's still not the case because George did start on pole position,
Mm-hmm.
but as you and I know about George's tendency to, or I guess not tendency to drive a clean race, um, it's I this was his best chance. I felt good about it. I really did. I felt good about Lewis being able to pull something out today, and for as much as like I don't know. I don't think we even have beef anymore. The Lewis fans and the Max fans, like it's a couple years in the past now. I mean, people still think about it, but 2021 it's gone. And people were really excited, I think from all camps about that win. That it just felt like it was good for him. He needed that. It was what people wanted to see. It was obviously what the fans wanted to see. It was his home race, and for him to be able to do that in front of the home crowd was really special. And he's now the first driver to win at a track, any track, 9 times. So well done. I
Nine
mean,
times.
historic. He
Nine
he
times.
deserves it. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was so emotional in the car after he crossed the finish line. Him and Bono
Mm.
both. And yeah, it was like I was like so excited. I was in my hotel room watching the race, and I was just like I was on the edge of my seat for the last 10 or so laps because I was like, oh crap, is Max gonna catch him? Is Max gonna catch him? Is Max gonna catch him?
No.
And by golly, he almost did, but Lewis did just enough, just enough on those hard tires to pull it out in the end, and he did it, and it was so cool. And he had the British Union Jack around the track, and
Yeah, that
like,
was cute. One of the marshals went and got him a flag and handed it to him while he was on his, cool down lap after the race or whatever it was, and he stopped the car and grabbed it and then, was waving it out the window. And I like that he brought Bono up on the podium with him. That it was, those two have been through it together, so
mm-hmm.
that was well done.
So yeah, all around, terrific race. Like perfect F1 drama. Lando Norris and McLaren, man. Ugh. I don't know if I feel bad for him or not. Uh, I kind of, in a way, I kind of do because they botched him. I don't know why they, even like on commentary, they were like, "Oh, the mediums are the right call at the end of the race here."
Everybody
And
who was watching the race knew that the mediums were the right call there. I don't know
mm-hmm,
if that was a McLaren decision or if that was his decision, but he decided he wanted to try and match Lewis, and those soft tires were degrading immediately. Like the
mm-hmm,
first, I don't know, 7 or 8 laps of the race, the people that went out on the softs to start, you could see that the rubber was already flying off. They were already marbling, and it wasn't going to last that long. And by the time everybody boxed for those the last tire change, it was what lap? I don't
it's
know.
about 12 laps to go.
Yeah, there were like
Yeah.
it was probably lap 39 or 40 of 52 ish, and you just knew they weren't going to last that long, or if they did, they weren't going to stand a chance against a harder compound. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the way it goes sometimes. And McLaren also just decided to leave Oscar Piastri out there on dry tires as the track was wet instead of double stacking, which was an interesting choice. But who knows? Who
That
knows what was
yeah,
going on?
another bad race for McLaren and botching it. Uh, yeah, we got more points. Are we ready?
Yes, we did. We're ready.
Yes, yes. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Hossie and
Hossie and
Bio.
Bio. Let's go.
Once
Nico
again,
Hulkenberg. Nico Hulkenberg flexing on the field.
what a drive. Back to back great points days for Nico Hulkenberg. He's having a hell of a time. So much so, in fact, that he has more points in the last 3 races, the European swing here,
The triple header.
than I believe, at least Checo for sure.
Checo, Leclerc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's one more in there too that he beat. That's like at the top, one of the top teams. Uh,
Crazy.
and the freaking Haas, bro. Like,
And
come
the
on,
Haas.
Nico. Get in, Nico. Good job,
Get in.
Nico.
He has. He's been
He's
having an incredible drive lately.
um and he's moving on next year. He's going to are they
Sauber?
whatever they're Kick Sauber
So,
Audi.com who
yeah, Sauber
whatever.
pre Audi takeover. Yeah. Because he's
Um
a German driver. Audi wants a German driver. That makes sense. Yeah.
and so Haas is now only a few points back for sixth in the constructors, as we previously talked about last week. They've already smoked past their constructor points total from last season already. So they're on the upswing here. Hossy's coming. We also got an 11th place from K-Mag. K-Mag finished 11th, and then in 12th, he's right there. Had a great race. Logan Sargent. Kaka.
4th of July weekend. That was going to be strong for Logan.
Mm-hmm. He had a great race. Did better than Checo and I think Leclerc too. I think he finished ahead of Leclerc. Didn't he finish?
Yeah, I want to say he finished the race in P11. I think he started P12. He might have finished the race in P11. But either way, it was his best finish of the season. I think it was his best qualifying of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He's been good lately, and I don't know whether they've finally like given him all the same car parts that they gave Albon, or if they're just trusting him a little bit more. But he's been on a
Okay, I
good
got it
run
wrong.
lately.
I apologize. Logan finished P11 and K-Mag finished P12.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Logan finished ahead of Charles Leclerc and Checo Perez and George Russell and
Well,
Pierre Gasly.
George Russell DNF. Pierre Gasly was determined to start P20, man. So Gasly had a 50 place grid penalty. I didn't even know that they did that because it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Just start him from the pit lane or start him from the back of the grid. Don't hand him a 50 place grid penalty. Like that's stupid. So anyway, they gave him a 50 place grid penalty for putting new like engine parts on the car because you're only allowed to have a certain amount per season. So he was going to start from the back. Then they changed parts on Checo's engine. So then Checo was going to start from the pit lane instead of the back. So there were only what was it? 19. There were going to be 19 cars on the grid and one starting from the pit lane.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the formation lap, they retired Pierre Gasly. They said, retire the car. We have an issue with the car. So now there's only 18 cars on the grid, which is the other 18. Gasly DNF'd, Checo pit lane start. George DNF's, I don't know, somewhere halfway through the race, which is just crazy because he was running pretty well. Obviously he had pole position and stuff, but there was some, what was it? It was a water.
It was
issue?
a water issue. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that is, but there was some mechanical issue and they were like, we have to retire the car, which was crazy. And the fans hated that, by the way. You could like hear people booing on the broadcast from the crowd mics. They hated it. So then DNF. So then it was the whole rest of the time, there was only 18 cars running on the grid, which gives you a little more room. I guess I will say that I didn't mind that at the start because the less crowded it is, the more likely they all are to hit each other. But it was just some regular tomfoolery, some nonsense.
Going back to Haas for 1 second, we did get the confirmation that this week that starting in 2025, we are starting to get the grid is now coming together slowly but surely. That one of our favorites, Ollie Behrman, is going to be officially driving in a Haas in 2025. I'm excited. We really like Ollie. He's kind of adorable. He's like our large adult son, kind of.
Yeah, he kind of is. And all of the Formula One community kind of banded together around Ollie earlier this season because he temporarily drove Carlos Sainz's Ferrari when Carlos Sainz needed an emergency appendectomy, which is just bonkers. But Ollie for the longest time was like, I don't know, what was he like, P13 in the drivers?
He's still 14th in the drivers. He has more points this year than Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, Alex Albon, Esteban Ocon, Zhou Guanyu, Logan Sargent, and Valtteri Bottas.
And he drove one race.
One race.
crazy. So yeah, we're all very happy for Ollie. He seems like a nice kid. His dad is constantly stressed when they show him in the garage. He's always standing there like this, like so worried. And it should be fun next year. We'll see what he can do with maybe with K-Mag. I mean, is K-Mag confirmed to be staying next year? Or do we not know that
No,
for
he's
sure?
not. They haven't said anything about who the second driver will be. There were rumors this week tying them to
Esteban,
Ocon.
right?
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, please no. Please keep
Ugh.
him away from our beloved Ollie Bear, please.
Yeah, but Ollie's not French, so they won't have the Civil War on track.
That's so true. Ain't that the truth?
Mm.
I'm actually hoping that Haas can somehow convince Carlos Sainz to come drive for
Well,
them. I
Carlos
think that would
Sainz
be great.
refuses to say where he's going to go, and as the longer he holds out, the more options fall away for him.
Yeah.
So I
I,
don't
I
really know
don't
what
know
he's
why
doing.
he's waiting so long, and I don't know why the move all along hasn't been um, Carlos Sainz in the second Mercedes seat for 2 years, and then Kimi Antonelli in the Williams seat with Albon for 2 years, and because that's Williams is essentially your junior team for Mercedes. George
Right.
Russell began his
They're
career in
they're
Williams
the
before he
Mercedes
moved
Driver
up.
Academy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
like I don't know why that hasn't been the move all along. There are rumors that Antonelli is going to be in that second seat at Mercedes, which is insane because Kimmy hasn't had that much success in F2 until actually this
This weekend.
this weekend.
Yep.
And I think he won this weekend, right? He won this
I think he
weekend at
did.
Silverstone. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that was I think maybe even his first career win. So
Crazy.
anyway, yes. So we're still getting the grid to come together a little bit. There were rumors that Checo might not finish the season at Red Bull, which is kind of wild to me. Because he's been ever since he signed that contract, dude. I don't know what has gone on with him, but
Some of it has been team strategy too, though. Like this weekend was team strategy. Like I'll tell you that because he was up in I don't know P13 or 14 when they called for him to go on the inters, and then it was just too dry for the inters. He was on the hard tire. He could have just kept running on the hard tire, and they were trying to get everybody through that first patch of rain that wasn't going to be super heavy. And I don't know whether that was his decision or the pit wall, but they really screwed over his strategy. He had a rough qualifying that, it was, dry to wet conditions. Everybody was on a slick tire and he was the first guy out, and you hit a damp patch and you slide off. He's had some bad luck, and there's also been some interesting team strategy involved, but there's definitely some performance clauses in there that they could use to give him the boot if they so decide to do it. I don't know though. It's so hard because he and Max seem to have a good dynamic, and that's obviously important. So.
Exactly. I'm trying to think what else we got. I believe the other Alpine seat is yet to be filled, if I'm not mistaken. The other Mercedes seat, right? The other seat at Kick Sauber. And then I think that's it. And that's all the open seats we have left, I think. Am I missing any? I don't think so.
I'm trying to think. No, I don't think so. I think you got it.
I got them. Oh, RB. Yeah, we're still waiting on
We're still waiting on maybe Danny Rick or somebody else at RB. I almost called it Alpha Tauri, but yeah, V-Carb.
That's F123 coming through.
F123. There it is. Yep, found it. Alfa Romeo. Yeah.
Crazy. All right, we can move on.
All right. What do we got in here? Let's do some quick hitters. Quick hitters. There is Shark Week on here. What do you have to say about Shark? What do you have to say for yourself about Shark Week? Why is this on the dock? State your case.
Do you not like Shark Week? Are you not obsessed with Shark Week like I am?
I used to really like Shark Week when I was a kid. Like I remember we used to all like actually sit down and regularly watch all of the Shark Week programming. And I think my mom and dad still watch it. I know they record it like every year, but I don't know cable.
Shout out Rob and Lisa. Let's go.
Yeah, that's true. They are the homies.
I'm in a group text with you and your mom. I can text her about.
That's true.
Can you imagine?
No, that's true. I'll change the name of that group chat from ticket losers to like shark winners or something and just put you guys in there and be like, go on without me. Oh gosh.
I told you before the show started on Sunday. We're recording on Monday, and before the show, before I took my nappy nap, I was watching. I was watching an episode of the Shark Week, and on this particular episode, what they were doing is they built out this like massive, um, like decoy of a whale, like
Mm-hmm.
a and what they did is then they built in like a little like viewing thing underneath that was like I don't know what you call it, whatever, I don't know the
Sure.
damn
Yeah.
terminology, but so they can put two divers to observe these great whites attacking um this whale. And I was like, man, this is so damn cool. And they were at a certain part where they were trying to figure out is if these sharks in this particular part, where they were at, which I believe was in Australia, off the coast of Australia, they were trying to
Probably.
figure out
Yeah.
is if all these sharks are kind of like in a pod together.
Hmm?
And so they're trying to understand if that's how the ecosystem of these particular sharks in that area. And I think they ended up finding out that yes, in this particular part that they were, because the same sharks would be showing up all the time. And they had like the big like mama shark was like 18 feet, like 4,000 pounds. Like,
It's
holy
great.
cow.
That's
They
no,
showed
that's
like slow motions of this. They showed the slow motion of this thing just chowing down the tail of this whale. Oh,
yeah,
it's so
so scary.
it's
So
so
scary.
freaking cool. It's not scary, it's cool.
Well, I mean, it would be if you were in the water with it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
so cool. It's still on my bucket list to go like go swimming with sharks, the tiny ones, not the great whites. Actually, that'd be kind of cool. But um,
Mm.
anyway, so I freaking love Shark Week. I'm gonna keep watching it. The one I always like watching is one of my favorites is Air Jaws. Have you seen any of the Air
I
Jaws
I
before?
like air jaws. Yeah, where they have the slow motion shots of them like breaching the water
Yeah,
to eat stuff. Yeah,
that
that's
is
crazy.
like the coolest damn thing ever. And one of my favorite ones they did of that is they sent out the photographer on this like little tiny rig
I think I
by
remember that, and
himself.
he was like laying flat with a camera rig.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they would have this like little seal that was like mechanically operated.
Hmm.
And the shots they got are just so damn cool. So I freaking love Shark Week, man. Like
They do that
should be
like
Shark Week. Should be Shark Week all the time.
Shark all the time. Shark Year. Yeah, they do that all. They do that, and they have like the same programs, like Air Jaws. They run Air Jaws every year, and they
Hmm.
do like Finding Jaws or something. It's always one where they're tracking this giant
Hmm.
great white for some reason, or like mammoth sharks. I think is another
Hmm.
one. But yeah, it's like the same
Alien
programming
Sharks is
every year.
really
Just
cool too. Alien
alien
Sharks
sharks.
also really sick.
I used to like the ones where and it had like a practical purpose of like trying to keep you safe while you were in the water, but it was like dispelling the myth or the truth to it that like the way that you looked on a surfboard or swimming or something could be construed as by a shark as you being a seal or, you know,
Hmm.
something like that. That was like served a practical safety purpose as well. That's like, hey, if you're ever in the water and you bop it on the nose, then it goes away or
Hmm.
whatever it may be. But yeah, that's sharks are cool. I like sharks.
Sharks are cool.
Sharks are cool. That's pretty much all that needs to be said.
Hmm.
Speaking of sharks, we can segue here. What did you recently give a 5-star rating to? A rare 5-star rating to on Letterboxd?
Okay, so I was looking for something to watch on July 4th, and the one what's okay, if I say July 4th movies, what's the first movie that comes to your mind?
Um, well, I know the one that you told me you wanted to watch, which was
Y-
Independence Day.
Yeah, that's the first one that
Yeah.
comes to my
I was trying
mind.
to think of one that was like actually set on July 4th. I'm like, are there really that many? Maybe not.
Live
I'm gonna
Free or
Google it.
Die Hard, the fourth Die Hard movie is set on
It's
July
like there
4th.
has to be a Die Hard, dang it.
Hmm.
July 4th movies. Born on the 4th of July, starring Tom Cruise.
Never seen it.
Why does it say The Sandlot? National Treasure. I don't think those are true. Oh, it also recommends Captain America: The First Avenger, which I guess I could see. What else is it recommending? Coming to America. Okay. It recommends Forrest Gump for movies to watch July 4th weekend.
None of these movies happen on July 4th.
Hamilton, which I guess makes sense. Hamilton makes sense. And it does also recommend
Rocky 4 on the list.
Rocky 4. It recommends Jaws, Lincoln, obviously the biopic. Why Men in Black? Don't know. Miracle. Okay, I could see Miracle. National Treasure and Night at the Museum back to back, which is a tough draw. The Right Stuff, I could see that being good.
I love The Right Stuff. Great movie. Has nothing to do with July 4th, but
no, but it is vaguely patriotic. It only has Rocky. It does not have Rocky 4, but it does have Saving Private Ryan and Top Gun Maverick back to back to back. So it's really just war movies. Thanks, Google. Okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I decided to rewatch Jaws. I hadn't seen it in a few years. I couldn't find Independence Day anywhere. So I was like, all right, what do I do now? Well, I gotta watch something, and I found Jaws on Peacock, and I watched it again, and that movie is just like it's so perfect. It is like the perfect, like no notes in that movie. One of the best movies in the history of mankind.
I love it. Jaws used to be my favorite movie when I was a kid, which I don't know what that says about me. And I don't know whether I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but like, I think I was allowed to watch Jaws at an age that was objectively probably too early for a child to be watching Jaws. But I love it. I love it to this day. It was my favorite ride at Universal Studios for the longest time until I think they took it out. But anyway, long live the Jaws ride.
It was terrific. I love everything about that movie. It's so good. And fun fact, this was in my Letterboxd review, in case you didn't know, everybody, but the story that Quint tells about the USS Indianapolis, 100% true story. Actually happened.
You know where I live. I'm aware of that now.
Speaking about sharks.
Speaking about sharks.
Yeah. So we come full circle.
Yep, full circle. I like that movie. That's famously where The Shark is Broken came from. And The Shark is Broken, I think, also is or was on Broadway currently with Alex Brightman, who was Beetlejuice in the recent Beetlejuice musical. He was starring in it, but they did like it was sort of a satire of what happened behind the scenes of making the Jaws movie.
Bruce the Shark
on Broadway. Bruce the Shark is broken. Repeat, the shark is broken. So that's cool. What else did you log on Letterboxd on your adventures?
Okay, so I did. Okay, so on my flight to Chicago, it happened to be during the match which shouldn't be named. So I was trying to watch this particular match that shouldn't be named, but the live TV function on the American wasn't working properly. So I was like, all right, well, this is stupid. So I'll just go watch the movie, and then I'll come back to the match that shouldn't be named, just to see if it's still working. And so I was like, all right, well, what movie do I want to watch? And I came across Anyone But You. So I pressed play on Anyone But You, watched the first 20 minutes of Anyone But You, and then got the match that shouldn't be named to work for the rest of the match.
We're also, to be clear, we're not talking about the Netherlands Turkey. We're talking about the other game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I put on Letterboxd, my original Letterboxd review I gave. I intentionally put in there a half star and said I only watched the first 20 minutes of this movie, and I'll update it if I watch the rest. So on my way back, I texted you this morning. I was like, should I watch the rest of Anyone But You? You said yes. I told you I was scared because I wasn't sure if there was going to be any nudity in it.
Plane nudity. It's always really sanitized on a plane. Like they do a pretty good job of cutting all that stuff out, because I know that people don't want to watch that.
Yeah, and so I was like legit scared that because first of all I didn't realize they made plain edits of movies. I thought they just
Mhm.
did the full movies
No,
on their own. That shows you
nope.
how often first of all I don't fly that often. When I do,
Yeah.
I usually don't watch movies. I'm usually listening to music or sleeping most of the time. Um, and so I texted you in a very strict panic. I was like, is there any nudity in this movie? And you
Mhm.
very much reassured me that there is nothing. Uh, there is no nudity in the movie. Thank God.
I
Thank
think there
goodness.
might have been a butt, but I don't
No,
know.
there was no butt. They took out the butt.
They
There was
cut the
not even
butt
any
out
butt.
too.
The
Yeah,
booty did not happen. No
fair
booty.
enough. Yep.
Thank God.
The
We
boot
did. So
404 booty not
yeah, we did
found.
not get any booty of not Erling Holland. That's what I called him.
Not Erling Holland. Crazy. The Australian guy.
The Australian guy, yeah, he
Yeah.
looked. I swear, I could not get it out of my brain. I don't know. I know there's a line about him being like fake Chris Hemsworth or whatever, but
Hmm.
every time he showed up, I was like, That's freaking Erling Holland. That's who that
That dude
is.
was so funny. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed him and his comedic presence and the fact that he was swimming butterfly in the open ocean. Like he's insane. Yeah. But yeah, I also threatened you under pain of death if you like didn't finish that movie and just left it as a half star. It's like that's not gonna fly here. Finish the movie.
So yeah, so I did finish it, got all the way through it. No butts to be had. No male nudity to be had. Thank goodness.
No ifs, ands, or
Um,
buts. Got it.
exactly. And so let me bring up what I have here. This is what did I go? Okay, here we go.
Mhm.
I anyone but you, 3.5 stars. And I have I had four things. I said, one, I am not hot girl fit. I don't do cardio. Best line in the movie. That made me crack up laughing.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh my god, you're hot girl fit." It's like, "I am not hot girl fit. I just don't do cardio."
Number two, as previously stated, why is Erling Haaland saying unwritten in the credits?
Fair enough. I love, and I loved a credits scene, like a credits music montage.
Yeah, that
Love
was
it.
so
More of
funny. That
that.
was
Yeah.
terrific. Um, Number three, Paxton Hall Yoshida? Question mark. That is a very niche reference. If you know, you know. If you don't, you should know because it's a great show. Have you seen it?
I know the actor.
Yeah, Darren Barnett. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was in the show Never Have I Ever on Netflix, which
Hmm.
is terrific. And it's so funny.
Didn't
It's
see
a Minnie
it.
Kaling
Didn't
show.
see it. Probably
And
won't.
I cannot recommend it enough. It's so funny. It's really, really good. Anyway, so Paxton Hall Yoshida was the name of his character in that show.
Yep.
And uh um me and Kat watch that all the time. She's the one who told me to watch it. And so I texted her when he showed up. I was in all caps. I was like, Paxton Hall Yoshida is in this movie. And number four, will forever keep my Serenity song a secret. Nobody will ever know.
It's the reason by Hoobastank. Yeah, it's crazy. No, I love that joke and I love that it's that particular song. Like just
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't have been half as funny with anything else. That one specifically. I
Mm-hmm.
can't agree with your 3.5 stars, but I can agree with the things that you pointed out there. So I think we'll settle somewhere in the middle there.
Mm-hmm. Again, it goes back to my feelings on the romantic comedy in general, which is
Hmm.
generally they're fine to watch and they're perfectly fine and they're funny. And this movie was decently funny. There were a couple scenes that had me really laughing. Um, but yeah, so I was like, all right, cool. That was a fun playing watch. Move on.
Okay. You're
That's
like,
three and
well,
a half.
that's enough of that. Now I'll go
That's
another
seven,
3 years without watching a romantic comedy.
right?
In the
Actually,
Glenaissance, in
I will
this
say this.
economy?
I will say this though. Um, the Glen Assance, if
Glenaissance.
Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney should be like this generation's Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, and they should just show up in every romantic comedy, and I'd buy it.
Yeah, I think we should put them in more things. It was really funny. They were good together on screen. It was good acting chops from both of them. And we still have Twisters to come with Mr. Powell later this summer. You seen the original Twister?
I have, but it's been like 20 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me. I'm gonna have to do a double feature or something so I can get caught up.
It was like cool because back in the day, it came out in the mid 90s, like 1995, 1996, when like the big disaster film was the thing. That was like there was Twister, there was Independence Day. It was basically the same vibe, and there were a bunch of different types of those type of movie. A couple years later, Day After Tomorrow as well. And so yeah, I don't remember a thing about the movie. I remember liking it when I was a kid. I thought it was cool, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe because Glenn Powell's in it, I'll go see it. But
I'm probably gonna go, but I think I might have a very different perspective on it now, living where I live versus the way that I enjoyed it when I was growing up on the West Coast, where tornadoes aren't a thing. When I was a kid, so maybe I actually shouldn't see that movie. It might be better for me if I don't.
Right.
We'll see. We'll update if that happens here on the show.
I did I did do one more movie.
Okay.
I did one more movie on the plane because it was 3 hours, and so I had enough time to fit in another movie. I watched Ghostbusters, The Song of Ice and Fire. That's what I'm calling it. Don't remember the actual name of the movie.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
There you go. Yep.
The Ghostbusters, the one with ice in it.
Ghostbusters, the really cold one. Got it.
The really cold one, yeah. Ghostbusters, The Day After Tomorrow.
Right.
And you were really disappointed by my rating on this one, but I gave it 2.5 stars. And I said, A Song of Ice and Fire, no dragons.
I can't say I was disappointed in your review, but I'll say that rating those two things like consecutively in the way that you did hurt my feelings. Well, you know my relationship with Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters.
Dude, I love Ghostbusters too, which is part of the reason why I gave it 2.5 stars.
It was just okay, and I'll say that about the first one that came out too, with the new kids, the new I don't know, trilogy or whatever it was. Like, it was fan service and it was fun, but you knew where it was going to go at every possible turn.
So it was a remake of the original one.
Yeah,
but with the new cast and nostalgia bait, and then the second one was more nostalgia bait, and it just didn't work whatsoever.
It worked less. It worked.
I didn't have the feelings that I had. I was like, it was cool to see Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd together again in the first one. Yeah. And then here I was just like, okay, why are they even here? They did make me laugh a couple times. The best part, one of my favorite parts of the entire movie that had me cracking up the most was the part where Bill Murray's just throwing pens at Kumail Nanjiani.
That may not have been scripted. That may have just happened, to be so fair.
That was so funny. I was like, yes. More of that, please. More of that style of humor.
Yeah, it was. I think getting the remains of the original Ghostbusters back was fun in the first one, but then that's kind of the same reason why it didn't really work. I think for the second one is we're like, okay, we get it.
We've been there.
We're gonna continue to make more. Okay. Paul Rudd has been really good in both of the new installments, though. I'll say that. Like, I think he does a good job of sort of carrying a lot of the weight and the responsibility of it, because it wouldn't really work half as well, I don't think, with almost anybody else, because he's willing to just commit to the goofball bit.
Yeah. I did like McKenna Grace in it too. I thought she was great in the first one.
She's been good.
I thought she was really good in this one too. I'm just sad that she did not end up with her ghost bestie / possible romance.
Crazy. Yeah, that's a line.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into paranormal romance here on the show. There's enough really bad books out there for that. Let's just leave it to them. Oh gosh. All right. Well, we cleaned up. One last quick question that was on the show. Rapid fire. Who's your favorite F1 paddock pet at the moment?
Roscoe, dude. Come on.
Has to be Roscoe.
For me, it's Roscoe. Yeah.
Okay.
Alex
Roscoe doesn't show
Albon's
up on the grid
cats.
a lot.
Alex
The
Albon's
Albon pets are
cats.
good. Mm-hmm.
Maybe second.
Max's cats.
We don't see
Max's
nearly
cats
enough of
don't go
them.
to the Max's cats don't really go on the grid though. So
Yeah, no,
it's probably Leo. Leo's gotten the most attention.
Leo's like the belle of the ball this year. He has his own paddock pass.
Yeah, Leo's gotten a lot of attention lately, and the pictures of Leo like enjoying flopping around in the sun versus getting rained on at Silverstone this weekend were very funny, and it was very relatable. I was like, I get him. Yeah. So we'll see. Those are both strong choices, but I am surprised, and I will take it down for the record that you picked a dog ahead of cats immediately.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Noted.
true.
Duly noted for the record.
But it's my bias towards Lewis.
Okay, that's allowed. Especially this week, that's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are 1 hour and 6 minutes. As usual, we don't know how to keep ourselves in check enough to stay in an hour.
That was my fault, dude. I just talked by myself for 20 minutes about literally nothing.
It was great.
How the hell I managed to do that for 25 minutes straight, I'll never know.
Richie, I played F123 with you for like 6 hours straight one day. It was crazy. We all know that we can yap if you put us together, just unhinged. We can yap. That's why we do this.
Which is why when we road trip for 4 straight hours, we're not saying a word to each other.
No,
silent yeah, car ride. Who says something first?
Silent library. Richie's gonna burst if I don't let him talk.
It'd be so funny. It'd be so funny because I just want to know who breaks first. We start as soon as you start the car, and who says something first.
Yeah, that's true. We could take bets on that because I think we both think that it's ourselves, and maybe that's why it works. You're gonna burst. I'm gonna look over at you and you're gonna physically have a hand over your mouth trying to restrain yourself from losing the quiet game. That's crazy. All right. We'll have to update on that front. All right. Thanks for listening to us yap for an hour and 7 minutes. We appreciate all of you that have tuned in and listened to our latest episodes. If you're new or if you are somehow missed being up to speed, we are at OHOBC Pod on everything, on all of your social media. We got your Twitter. We're not calling it X, Instagram, TikTok. We're also over on YouTube. And a reminder that I do still need to post our Haas career highlights this week. That's more for me than for you, but that's coming up too. So thanks for tuning in.
I'm excited to get back into it, baby. I'm excited. I don't remember what the race. I'm not excited. I have no idea what track is up next.
Hungary.
Am I good there? I have no idea. We'll figure. Oh no! You know what? Hungaroring's actually pretty tough because there's a lot of like
turns,
a lot of braking zones there, and so it's kind of tough. But we'll
see how we do. We're on a good run.
We're gonna get some overtaking done. We just. Please, I need to stop talking. Jesus Christ.
We're on a good run.
I am gonna lose the game. I can't.
You're for sure gonna lose. Yeah, you're for sure gonna lose the game.
It's the fact that I took an hour nap before the show, and I made sure to get some caffeine in me. So I can't shut up. I need to shut up so you can get.
He's fired up now. He's had a caffeine nap, and he's all fired up. All right. Well, cheers, audience, to Richie eventually losing the quiet game that we're gonna play. And look forward to all of our content that's coming out for you soon. But thanks for listening to both of us, but mostly Richie. See you next time.